Whiplash, Interstate Love Song, or Big Bang Baby? What's your favorite song by the Stone Temple Pilots? We are Rock Kaput, two Germans talking about rock and metal. We have our friend Alex from the USA with us, and we are going to rank our top 10 favorite Stone Temple Pilots songs. We already ranked their whole catalog, so make sure to check the video out. Link will be in the description. And yeah, I'd say let's just get on it. Alex, why don't you start with your first five or your
Okay.
last five?
Okay, my last five. Okay, I'll start with my number 10. My number 10 is from their sophomore album Purple. Um, if you watched our ranking video, you know that I'm not very fond of this album. But as I said in the video, it's a transitional album and it has a lot of great tracks I really admire and I love. And one of them is Kitchenware and Candy Bars. It's The Closer, written by Robert DeLeo. Um, the verses are actually a very dark song, and I really loved both sections. They have great melodies. I love the chorus. I think this is yeah. I think before that you couldn't have imagined that Scott sings like this. So that was really, and the whole band presents themselves like in this song because the production is very different. It's not a heavy rock song at all. It's very ballady and yeah, you can say poppy. I don't mean it in a negative way. It's really cool. And it's also a hidden track is following, kind of funny. 12 gracious melodies. But I guess it's not sung by Scott. They hired some singer. I don't know. Yeah, it's quite funny. My number 9 is from their album number 4. It's called I Got You. It's another great ballad and a great bass part. It's again written by Robert. Yeah, I love. Yeah, what I found out when we did this exercise. I love all the ballads by this band, and all the heavy rock song they can be hit or miss for me. Like when they do ballads, I love them. Yeah, and I Got You is also great.
The lyrics are absolutely devastating to that song because he's singing about his addiction and singing about the spoon as his love object. And yeah, if you know his story, it's really
I don't actually.
yeah, you got to check them.
Yeah,
I
okay.
I just found out because I never paid that much attention to the lyrics, but yeah.
Ah, okay, interesting. Okay, I have to check that out. So my number 8 is from their debut core, and it's Creep, another great acoustic ballad. We played it back then with my first band. I have great memories to this track, and it was also one of the very first great grunge ballads I've heard. Yeah, kind of from this grunge era. I think their first album deserves to be called grunge because of the production, the heaviness, their style. It totally fits. I know the brothers don't like it being grunge, but if you release an album like Core in 1992, guess what happens?
A lot of
Everybody
bands
calls
don't
it
want to be
grunge.
called hair metal, right? But when you have big hair and makeup, that's hair metal. Sorry, guys.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So
They wanted to be called cock metal, probably.
I don't know what they thought they were. So, and yeah, my number 7 is Perdida. I love their last album with Jeff singing, and this is the title track, and I think it's perfect. It is, yeah. I still have it in my daily playlist in the kitchen. I think it's great. I love the whole album, but I know it's not for everybody. So my number 6 is my favorite, one of my favorite tracks from the debut. It's called Wicked Garden. It's really a great heavy rocker with great drum fills by Eric. Yeah, I really love this song. I love all those sections. I think it's so well composed, and yeah, great song. This is my number 6.
Okay, Alexis, your turn.
All right. So this was pretty easy for me for what songs I was going to pick versus what I was not, because if people watch that ranking of the albums, they know I'm not a big fan of the non-Scott albums. But I'm also not a big fan of as much of the second phase with Scott as the first. So I've got 3 songs each from the first 3 and only one from that second period with Scott. And I sort of came about this as a playlist that I want to listen to over and over again. So there's some songs that didn't make it that you would be surprised, but they sounded similar to some other songs. So they kind of, knocked themselves out that way. So number 10 is a deep track, and the only one not off of the first 3, and that is Too Cool Queenie off of Shangri-La-Di-Da. My favorite by far of that second phase of the band. Great harmonies. Scott shines with his vocals. Great guitar from Dean. I love the intro. I love how the song flows. And this is an interesting song lyrically because it was revealed years later. This is about Courtney Love and Kurt Cobain and their storyline. To me, it needed more songs like this in that second phase of the band. Not that there was anything wrong with those other Scott albums. They just didn't grab me like the first 3. So number 9 is going to be Sex Tape Thing off of Core. Probably would have ranked higher years ago, but a little bit of an ear fatigue because of how much I've heard this song. But this was the debut single and had me hooked with the band back then. And I was not one of these snobs that was worried about, is it grunge, is it not grunge, are they this, are they that? And by this point, I was just listening to anything I liked, and labels didn't matter to me. So I never bought into that whole, they're trying to be Pearl Jam or Nirvana or Soundgarden or anything. There were some similarities, but there were similarities with lots of bands. So to me, this is the best of their hard rock side. This really is an in-your-face song. Lyrically, again, it became, even back then, a challenge for him to explain what he was trying to say. So we talked about it in the album ranking, a little cringy. And I thought it was interesting as we were putting this things together for this episode, and it never struck me, but Danzig always had a problem with this song because he said it sounded too much like Snakes of Christ. And if you listen to those songs back to back, there's some similarities, but I don't think they stole anything. I think it's just a matter of it just happened to sound like it. So, and this was in the States here, just got to number 23 on the Billboard mainstream chart. So it wasn't an immediate success for the group, but it did get a little traction for them. Number 8, Big Bang Baby from Tiny Music. This is the first single off of this album, and this was number 1 on the Billboard mainstream charts. This was a big song for them. I love it's got a groovy driving beat, nice bass line. Now we're going to talk about hand claps again. We just did that on a Stooges episode, but they're there. And there's a little bit of a psych part towards the end. There's some layered vocals, some Bowie-esque inspired kind of stream of consciousness lyrics. And Scott has mentioned this before, where he does that a lot, where he just has some kind of wordplay, and not everything means something, but it fits the song. It sounds right. And so there's part of the lyric is there's a hole in your head where the birds can't sing along. So again, I ask you to decipher that. I think that is stream of consciousness. And so that's that song. Number 7, and I love this song, but it's number 7, and that's Big Empty off of Purple, which is my favorite Stone Temple Pilots song. Spoiler alert if you didn't watch the other episode. This originally was done and written for the Crow soundtrack, and it was titled then Only Dying. And then after the tragic death of Brandon Lee, they changed the name of the song. This has creep and plush vibes. You know, again, as you talked about, Alex, that kind of ballad, slower kind of vibe that they do so well. But then there's some heavier parts, right? So this is kind of a back and forth, a yin and yang kind of thing. And I think it just works great. It's sort of Scott that drives this. I think his tone and his texture of his voice. Again, he doesn't get enough credit as a singer and how he uses his voice as an instrument. And it's great. And lyrically, it's kind of a vague story, supposedly involving a car, a cigarette, and a conversation. And there's also a line in there, and this goes back to what you were talking about, Oliver. Her name is what it means. And that's the similarities between the words heroin and heroin. And so, again, Scott doesn't get enough credit for his lyrics either. I think he had some very cool and very personal lyrics. And if you do a deep dive, you'll understand that. And then I'm up to number 6. And this is, we're not on the Contrarians, but I'm going to say it's a Contrarian pick and a deep cut, but I love it. It's quirky, it's fun, and it's Art School Girl from Tiny Music. And I liked it from the very second I heard it. A very different song in their catalog. This is certainly, one of those deep tracks that needs to be heard. I love the laid back parts of it. And then it does a 180 with an aggressive chorus. And he's repeating over and over again, I told you 5 or 4 times. And I'm not dyslexic. I didn't get that backwards. He says it that way, 5 or 4 times. Blistering guitar solo by Dean, who composed the song. And this is a sort of a relationship song about his girlfriend before STP, volatile relationship. And that comes across certainly in that chorus. So those are my first 5.
Nice. So my turn. Funny thing, when we planned this ranking, I was discussing with Alex how many songs we should pick, and they have 8 albums, so I said, well, 10 should be enough. 15 seems like too much for me, and well, then I started just scribbling down which songs could be in it, and I realized, well, we could have done 15. But I think it was a nice challenge to reduce it down to 10, and I'm pretty happy with my list. So I'm going to start with my number 10, and I think in Germany this might be their most famous song, maybe in America too, not their biggest hit, but it's certainly a song that most people know. It's from their debut, and it's Plush. It's still I ranked it that way down because I think it's not the sound where they would arrive at, and which is to me the Stone Temple Pilots sound that would come later, but it's still an undeniable song. Great riff. I love the drum sound on that album. Yeah, nothing more to say. On number 9, I have, you said it, you had it before, Big Bang Baby from Tiny Music. This is the Stone Temple Pilots I really love. Very glammy, and you can dance to it. It's a bit poppy, but it's still got heavy guitars. I think Scott Weiland is doing a little bit of a Mick Jagger impression. He even gives a little Jumping Jack Flash quotation in the chorus. So always love that song. Yeah, it's a rather small song. It's not something that will knock you on your ass and wow you, but it's just a very competent, nice poppy rock song. On number 8, I have another bouncy feel-good tune. It's from number 4, and it's Church on Tuesday. Totally love it. Has a little bit of a 60s vibe to it in the melody. Yeah, to me, this has hit potential written all over it. I don't know, was it a single? I'm not quite sure. I think it wasn't? Okay. Well, I love it. On number 7, and this was a late inclusion because I knocked another song off for the reasons I mentioned earlier. I had Big Empty on there before, but then these songs, with these soaring chorus melodies. They always give me these Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder vibes, and I like other stuff by the Pilots better. So I chose another song, and this is a little bit. It's still very groovy and danceable, but it's also a bit menacing, and it's Loungefly from Purple. Very cool song. And yeah, lots of cool tracks on Purple, especially in the first half. I think it's pretty amazing what they put together. On number 6, I have another track from Tiny Music, and it's a more ballady song, a little bit jazzy. It's Adhesive. Totally gorgeous. Also more of a deep track, I guess. And yeah, I urge you to listen to it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So these are my first 5.
Okay. So I carry on with my number 5. And it is also a song from Tiny Music. It is a Lady Picture Show. Another highlight. I think this was a single, right?
Yeah.
I guess. And yeah, it's a perfect song. I mean, I could have plastered this list with songs from Tiny Music, but I decided to give some variety, and this certainly is a highlight. I love the whole production. I think this is really amazing that they moved into a house and self-produced this album, and it sounds that great. The arrangement is great. I love everything about it. Yeah, it's a great song. My number 4 is Atlanta, the closer from number 4, with a beautiful string arrangement. Yeah, Scott is what can you say? This is really one of the most beautiful songs. Yeah, I loved it instantly. And yeah, when I was disappointed with listening to number 4 for the first time, in the end came Atlanta, and I thought, oh, this is not so bad. And I still love this song, and I still like some of the rest of the album. Go watch our album ranking. Then you can find out my opinion. So my number 3 is from the debut, Plush. I love this song. I think this is a very inventive and timeless riff. I could listen to this over and over again. It stood the test of time for me totally. And yes, they developed their sound into a different direction, but from this early Pilots phase, yeah, this was also a very special moment in time for me. And yeah, if I listen to Plush, I can totally go back and yeah, with a great arrangement. Yeah, masterful arrangement. My number 2, yeah, now maybe my list gets a little bit boring here. Another hit. It is Interstate Love Song, but it is a great song. Yeah, I mean you can't deny it. It was a big hit. I think yeah, it is great. I never got tired of it, and it is the perfect road song still, and very good composition. I love it. And my number 1 is from my favorite album from Tiny Music, another single, Tripping on a Hole in a Paper Heart. It is it is their most beautiful chorus in my opinion, and yeah, with the trumpets or trombones in the background, it really sounds amazing in the chorus. And with this it was I actually read it was written by Eric Kretz, the drummer. I did not know that, which is quite amazing. And with lyrics by Scott from an Acid Experience. And yeah, I love this song. It was a no-brainer for me that this is my number 1. But the other stuff I had to figure it out. It took some time. But yeah, Tripping on a Hole in a Paper Heart is Pilots at their best. back to you, Alex.
Okay, so yeah, I found this interesting. I like your concept of the top 15 because there are songs that you both mentioned, and maybe you will some others, Oliver, when you come up that didn't make the list that certainly would have been in that, right? And it's a small-ish catalog, but a very interesting one. So as we talked about on the album ranking, right? Keep doing these shameless plugs, but why not? So my number 5 is Dead and Bloated from Core, the lead-off track. And that, that opening where it says, I am smelling like a rose that somebody gave me on my birthday deathbed. I have no idea what the fuck that's supposed to mean, but it sounds cool. And this is another stream of consciousness thing, right? And he'll tell you that. And what's interesting is he was going to use a megaphone to sing that part, but he actually sang it through the pickup on Dean's guitar. So you just have this really, strange vocal opening, and then boom, it kicks in. And one of the heaviest songs, and you mentioned some things that may sound like Pearl Jam. To me now, this does sound Alice in Chains, right? This is that doomy, bluesy kind of music that they were known for. And again, not saying they were trying to copy it, just it happens to sound that way. And sort of unlike Sex Type Thing off this same album, I can always listen to this. I found myself going back and revisiting that as I'm putting this list together. I didn't need to do that for Sex Type Thing. There's certain times where that sounds good, but to me, Dead and Bloated is one that anytime it pops on, I'm not going to skip. I'm gonna listen to it. All right, so number 4 is Pop Love Suicide from Tiny Music. Love this song. Great riff, trippy psychedelic vocals. It's got a dreamy kind of quality to it. Again, something that they can mix into their music. To me, it's almost Beatles go alt rock. It's got that kind of later era Beatles sound just brought to modern times. And again, Beatles is another band that you can name check half of their lyrics in that second part of their career. What did it mean, right? It was just wordplay. So I think they take a lot of inspiration from the Beatles. This explores themes of love and desperation and the complexities of life. I think it's one of those kind of deep track gems. Number 3 is going to be Vaseline off of Purple. This was the first single off of this, and it got to number 1 on the Billboard mainstream chart. So this was a big hit. This has a swirling intro, which was actually Rob and his bass going through a wah-wah. And then it kicks in with Scott's kind of smooth vocals. So again, you always kind of have this complexity there in songs where there's different layers and different textures. And that's because of each person bringing so many different elements to the table and being experts at their craft. Again, they don't get enough credit for that. And on this song, this is a rarity. All 4 get composition credits, not just songwriting credits, because Scott does the lyrics for almost everything, but they all put this 2-minute and 56-second, to me, pop perfection song together. This is a song about being kind of stuck in the same situation over and over again. This is Scott lying about his addiction, yet it sounds upbeat, right? So if you really listen and know where he's coming from, it's a depressing song. But if you take it at just kind of the face value and listen to it, it has a totally different context. And I think it's interesting that Flies in the Vaseline, Scott heard that from his parents playing the Eagles, Life in the Fast Lane, and was one of those wrong interpretations of lyrics. So that's where that stems from. Number 2, Interstate Love Song off of Purple. Brilliant, fantastic, incredible. This was the second single, and this was another number 1 Billboard mainstream song for them, which spent 15 weeks at number 1. This was a big, big song for them. And it's been called one of the best songs of the 90s, and I wouldn't deny that. I think that sort of captures that era and that sound. It's almost kind of alt rock meets hard rock meets country. Again, this blending that they do so well. It sounds melancholic, but at the same time, you can take it for yourself what you want to get out of this song. And I love that kind of, you're able to interpret Stone Temple Pilots songs, many of them, in your own voice. The vocals are smooth, vocals are emotive. Again, Scott's known for this. And the music, in this case, I think kind of enhances his vocals. It's just such a great combination. To me, this is songwriting at its best. But it isn't better than my number one song, and I had to do it, and that's Plush off of Core. And I get what you're saying, Oliver, and I totally agree. But to me, this is it. This is the second single off of the album. The label wanted it to be their first song, and the band thought, we have something here, and we don't want to be a one-hit wonder, so let's not put this out right away. And I think it was smart, because this is a hell of a follow-up, and that, I think, helped get them to where they ended up going. This was, award after award after award. MTV Best New Artist for the song, Billboard Mainstream #1 track, Billboard #1 rock track, rock song of the year, and a Grammy hard rock performance. And I forgot to mention that this is on Spotify, their #2 song, 411 million listens. Interstate Love Song, though, is by far #1, 544 million. So two very popular songs. The reason I have them at my 1 and 2. I think, sometimes they were unfairly compared to Pearl Jam, and I saw a lot of people name checking Pearl Jam in this song. I don't necessarily get that. I think this is Stone Temple Pilots to me. It has that mood and that feel that they then carry on and in many ways kind of take to a different level in other songs in the future. But again, as you mentioned, Alex, this has a special place in my heart because I remember the time and the place and all of that with this song. So this is the perfect blend of that grunge, but alt rock, hard rock, this mashup that they're known for. To me, this is their best moment. This sums up who they are and who they will become. And that's my #1.
Thank you. I just before I go on with my last 5, I just want to, because I forgot it when I talked about the song, and you mentioned the opening lyrics for Dead and Bloated and how they get stuck in your head, and Scott does that several times, that you don't really have to listen to his lyrics, or maybe the song is in the background and then you catch something and it sticks with you. And there's one part in Adhesive that catches me every time, and it's funny and it's unexpected. He has this, the verses, he has this kind of soothing melody as if he's a lover whispering in your ear, and he's singing, let me find it, hope it's sooner, hope it's near, corporate records, fiscal year. And that catches me every time, because it's so unexpected and weird to put this kind of financial talk in there. And that's I think that's typical Scott Weiland. So okay, my number 5 would be from Tiny Music, 7 Cage Tigers. Love the melody, beautiful song, very classy, great composition. Not a big song of theirs, but one of the many songs you could pick from Tiny Music, and hit the right spot. The next song, I'm just counting them down because all of you talked about them. Number 4 is Atlanta from number 4. I think, and I think you said that in the ranking, Alex, that if you listen to this one in the right moment, you will probably break down in tears, because it's just so beautiful and sad. Amazing vocal performance by Scott. Maybe it's their most beautiful song. On number 3, I have Vaseline. This is a typical grooving rocker. They made several on those 3 albums from Purple to number 4. I think that was pretty much their wheelhouse. So that's a great song. You said, I think you said, the song sounds like Scott moves on stage or something like that, and I think that's very fitting. Number 2 is Tripping on a Hole in a Paper Plane. Did I say that right? Because I shortened it.
In a paper heart.
Paper Heart, sorry. Cool song, a pretty fast song, still a great melody. If you know the Pilots, you know this song. And my number 1 is a pretty obvious pick. It's Interstate Love Song. What can you say about this song that hasn't been said? It's just one of the greatest songs of the 90s and of that time period, and of that music, if you want, call it grunge, whatever. It's just a classic, and I don't think this song will go away too soon. So
No,
that's my top 10.
you know, add up the numbers, those two songs, almost 1 billion on Spotify. So people like them.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, great. So that's it. We ranked our top 10 favorite songs by the Stone Temple Pilots. If you like the video, give us your thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and give us your top 10, or tell us your opinion about the Stone Temple Pilots. Tell us why we were wrong and why we picked the wrong songs. And just keep watching our channel and be there when we return with whatever that may be. See you and thank you. Bye.
Bye.